Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. We were in North Africa this week and we had a great time studying Egypt and the Sahara, which were our main focuses. We always like to choose two focuses whenever we do our study for whatever country or region that we're in. And that was Egypt and Sahara. Egypt is probably the most loved place on the planet for our daughter, so it was a really
she loves ancient Egypt.
It was a welcomed stop for her.
Yeah, it was great to get into Africa after having gone through a long trip through Asia and Europe. And we're on the downhill slope of our tour here. We only have a few regions left until we're going to be finished, so it's really cool to dive into Africa and so much natural beauty, animals. It's been really, really great.
Absolutely.
So let's get started with the books.
Absolutely.
So before we start with the first book, to note that Build Your Library's main book is Jambo Means Hello, which we returned to the library because we didn't like it, and we forgot that it's actually the one of the Build Your Library books for the Africa Overview Week. So just know that Jambo Means Hello is something that we did read, and we had chucked it from the video before realizing that it was actually part of the curriculum. So there's our review of Jambo Means Hello. I don't know, you read it. What was your kind of impression?
It was very repetitive. So they were taking a lot of words and kind of doing an alphabet.
It was in Swahili, right?
Yeah, Swahili words. And it just really didn't connect with her. We got about halfway through and I could start seeing her eyes drifting, and it was just something she really wasn't into. So we stopped it and that was it.
So no connection was our answer to Jambo Means Hello.
It may be different for you, so obviously check it out from the library. It's absolutely worth getting and putting it into the crate, because a lot of times we don't really talk about this a lot of times, but we do have a lot more books than we actually review on the shows.
Yeah, we probably read 30 or more books a week.
Exactly, and then we kind of prune them down to like what we like the most.
Right.
And so it's very common for us to get huge bags of books, and we're just going through them. So we encourage you to get more books and really try to read through them all and see which ones connect with your learner, because not every one of them is going to, and you can see that right out of the gates, and then you can just kind of stop and move on to the next book.
But if you want like a shortcut, you can look for the books that we're going to show you.
Okay. Let's start with the new spine.
Yes, Africa is not a country. So this is also Torchlight and Build Your Library both reference this.
Yep.
And basically, it's a really good book. I'm glad we own this, and I'm really glad we do. It basically starts in the morning, and every page goes later in the day, and it tells you the snippet of a family or a couple people's lives during that time. Mm-hmm. So at first it was kids getting ready to go to school in Tunisia, I think. And then the next page is somebody who has just gotten to school, and it's in Rwanda. And so every page is a different set of people, a different part of their day. So it gives you this really cool glimpse into all of these different parts of Africa. Mm-hmm. So really hit home with our daughter that this is a continent and not just a country.
With a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures.
So
Absolutely.
What we decided to do with it is each week we go through and we read just the pages for the countries in the region that we're studying, so she can get a flavor of that. We don't read through the whole thing. And so we'll be using this over all the weeks that we study Africa, and reading the important points out of it, just like we would do with Children Like Me, or one of those other books that have
countries around the world
multiple countries.
School Like Mine as well.
Right, yeah. So this is a really good book, though. I highly recommend this one. We really enjoyed it. So we'll be using it week after week. So I guess we'll bring it up on the next video too.
Absolutely. Next one we have is the Storyteller.
This is a Build Your Library for North Africa. I'll show it.
And like all folk tales, I don't know if it's in our blood that we just don't connect with folk tales. And we have asked for folk tale books and everything. This was kind of a Russian nesting doll type of thing, where it was like a folk tale within a folk tale, and folk tale squared doesn't work for us either. Basically a story about, it was about I still don't remember because we actually had to stop halfway through. Again, it was very similar to the Jambo
Means
Hello book, where it just didn't connect. And I actually found myself kind of like, I don't know what I'm reading, where I'm at in the story. And if I was lost, my daughter was absolutely
Our daughter
lost.
is 6.5, so she is on the older end of this kind of, it's a 5 to 7 type curriculum. So I really think if she and you were both lost, maybe this isn't a great selection for, at least not for us.
Yeah.
For us, oftentimes, folk tales are just, they don't have the same sort of story narrative structure as modern stories, and our child just has a really hard time understanding, that folk tales tend to make like abrupt changes in direction,
Very much
abrupt
so.
resolutions, or characters make decisions that don't make a whole lot of sense. Like, wait, why would they do that? Now, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of that kind of stuff that really takes our daughter out of it because she just doesn't understand what's happening and why is it happening, and that doesn't make sense, and why are they going over here, and maybe I think we are too logical of a family.
too much engineering.
There's too much engineering, yes. So yeah, folktales are just these ones, a year full of stories, a year full of animal stories.
Stories my abuelita told.
Oh yeah, none of these.
We're striking out all over the place.
Folktales haven't worked for us. But if your family likes folktales, then maybe check this out. But
Absolutely.
For us, we're just having a hard time connecting. So we
yeah.
keep trying.
We really do.
Do you know the ones that worked out of all the folktales? I'm getting off topic, but I'm going to say it anyway. The ones that were the Scottish tales, those folktales that were done in those beautiful books for Scotland.
The Selkie one, and then there was the dragon one.
The Loch Ness, the Water Horse one. And there was the Dragon of Stormborn.
That was a good one.
All of those were excellent. They were folk tales that
adapted,
had modern art and kind of some modern storytelling things that made them make sense.
They were edited, yeah.
Yeah, those were the best ones we've read this whole
Absolutely.
thing. So
I
digress.
Moving off the digression, One Wish.
Yes, and I think the subtitle is Fatima Al-Firi and the World's Oldest University. So this is really interesting. This is, they believe to date, the oldest university in existence, and it's in Morocco. Okay. And this is her story of dreaming of a place where people could all study and learn together. And so I love all of these kids' books that are some sort of a true story, and they make it into this wonderful, fictional feeling story arc.
Fictionalized version of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like
we had that with the.
It's like a cut down biopic.
Yeah, we had that in the Middle East with the first female rabbi.
Yeah. We have these with all kinds of different famous figures from history who did amazing things, and I just love them. It's like a biopic, but it's been shortened. It's got great art. It's always really engaging, and then it gives us something to springboard off of and to look up information about. And this is the oldest continually operating university in the world. That's really cool. Yeah, anyways, exactly. I really like this one. So if your kids also like the mini biopic versions of picture books, this is a good one to pick up.
Absolutely. Yep. Next one, and I will purposely say it incorrect because that's part of the trick. My name is San Goel. Now, that's how I pronounced it when I read the story. But then there's a twist at the end that... I'll give you spoilers. It's a young boy who gets chosen to get a visa to come to America. He's from Sudan. So he's in a refugee camp, and he's been given a trip to the United States to stay in the United States. And he has to connect with, the weird weather because he's going from basically the desert to the snow, kind of, I think, in New England area. He's got to connect with all these kids. He doesn't speak the language. They're really trying, and they're trying to bring him in and make him comfortable. One of the problems that he has is that no one is saying his name right. And you don't realize that, especially as me as the reader, until the very end when he actually makes a shirt that says, my name is Sun Goal. And so the whole book, I was reading it like phonetically how I would think you would say it. And then I realized at the very end that I was saying it wrong, even to my daughter. And we had a laugh about that. So it was an interesting way to tell a story where you probably guessed that the reader would read the name wrong, and then that's the twist at the end, is that it was wrong. Here's how to pronounce my name. I really liked it. We kind of had a good laugh about it, and then we reread it saying his name the correct way. So it was really cute.
Good way to connect too for your learner to understand that it's respectful to ask somebody how to pronounce their name. Exactly. I think this is a really nice way to slip in that message.
We've had this message a few times with the books where the child is trying to understand what their name means or understand how to say their name or how to write their name in the new language. There's been a lot of those stories, and this is just another one of those that is, as a story structure and narrative, it is very gripping because your child can understand that, because it's a very visceral thing. Like, your child has their name, I have my name, and that means something to you. And having that told through the story, I think, is a wonderful way to connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next one, Deep in the Sahara. So this is a great story. I think this is set in central, Sahara area. It's kind of not really specific, kind of like the Chad area, deep in the desert. Basically a young girl, and she's going through her town. They live in the desert. And I think they're called malafas, basically the headscarves, and she's marveling at the various women in her town and how beautiful their scarves are, and how they talk about these cultural aspects, the food, the location, the culture, how they act around other people. It was very, very engrossing, and it was the artwork is very beautiful, very simple story. Again, we see these stories a lot where it's just like a child moving through the culture, and through that movement in the story, you experience and learn new words, learn new aspects of their culture, aspects of what they do on a daily basis, and we kind of learn along with them. A lot of these type of stories, we've run into a lot of them, especially in the Middle East and Asia. This was a really, really good, it was very sweet, and it was all about connecting with family. And so I think that kind of connecting with family, we've talked about this a number of times, connecting with family is kind of a universal cultural thing, and those come through in these type of books.
Yeah, this was a good one. It was a good
Absolutely.
one.
So The Day of Ahmed Secret, so this is a good touchstone into Egypt, set in Cairo, very similar to a book I believe we reviewed about Morocco or something. We read a book very similar, I think it's the same author. There's, I think, a number of these type of books where they've taken kind of live photos and they've kind of rotoscoped over.
It was Lebanon.
Lebanon, that's
what
Middle East one.
Sammy in the Time of the Troubles.
Exactly. And it's very similar styling, and I kind of wonder if they're from the same publisher or the same author.
Yeah, they might
But
be.
basically, he's a young boy. He's going through Cairo, and he's got to make errands. He's really young. Really interesting to be able to talk to my daughter about how he's not being homeschooled, and he's not in school. He's out there working and earning money for his family, and so how much of a drastic difference that is in her life versus his life. In the very end, he has a secret to tell, and it's the fact that he can write his name. Spoilers. Same concept as the Sun Goal story, where the name keeps coming back in. That's important, and also the idea of literacy and being able to write your name, be able to read your name. Always coming through, really, really fun. Really beautiful artwork, kind of overlaid, I believe maybe overlaid over real images. Don't know, but that's kind of how the look and feel of it is.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, these are so engaging because I feel
much.
like our daughter, she feels like she's looking at real pictures, and they do definitely have that feel.
Another good one. How did the Sphinx got to the museum? Well, I loved this book because it was a book that, if you could say, it touched 5,000 years of history and like 24 jobs, and it didn't lose the reader.
It's pretty amazing, really.
It's pretty amazing. So basically it took the Sphinx, and it said, okay, I'm going to talk about all the jobs it took to get that Sphinx from where it was being created. So it needed a queen, it needed an architect, it needed a sculptor, it needed all these people, and then all of a sudden it needed an archaeologist to find it, it needed crews to bring it to the museum, people to clean it, to the curator, the artist, to make the logos and the pictures, and then the person to give the tour. So basically it talks about not only the history of this object, but all the various people that touched it along the way. And for our daughter, who really, really loves Egyptian history and culture and these type of artifacts, it was really cool for her to kind of wrap her head around how many people there are and how many opportunities there are for jobs and interest and research that goes into just these very old objects. They're just sitting there that you can stare at, and there's so many hands have had a hand in on that being there, and also the way it's being presented. It was very illuminating to her. She had never heard half of these works before. So it was very fun for her. I think she really enjoyed it.
This is like a younger version. We have a DK book that's behind, it's called Behind the Museum, I believe. I'll link it in the show notes. But it is also about that, all the jobs behind the scenes at the museum that help to catalog the artifacts and clean them and restore them and all these other jobs. So really cool. Our daughter's very fascinated by, what goes on in museums.
Exactly.
Really good.
And if you have a museum in your neighborhood, this would be a great thing to like choose to go that week or in that area.
That would be really cool.
You can kind of like touch the book and the knowledge there to what you're seeing in the real life.
Yeah, I love that.
Next is Living in Egypt. We've talked about these books before. These are
so good.
Wonderful nonfiction books. These are the ones with little kids set in the little, so it's from the standpoint of the young child. Again, very connecting to our young learner.
Yeah.
I like them because they're just so easy to get the base information about a certain region. Hey there, hi doggo, how are you?
It tells the story of one child and kind of going through their day, what they had for breakfast, where they went to school, what subjects they studied. She's always amazed by these other cultures and how many different subjects they study in a day and how many languages they study in one day, which is also interesting for her. And then it talks about what she does for fun, more about her family, what her parents do for work. It's this. I kind of was wondering. I've read enough of these now. We've read them in every country they have them for. I think there are maybe 30 of them. 30, and we've read them everywhere we can. But I keep wondering, like, are these real kids that they have then made a book around? Because there's such specificity with like the job that their parents do and what they do during their day that feels like it doesn't feel like, oh, okay, hey, most Egyptian kids do this, so this is what most Egyptian people have these kind of jobs, so we're going to say he runs a store or whatever. Like, they're very specific, and I kind of wonder. My daughter and I have been speculating about, is there a real child behind
a real
these?
Amira?
We've been wondering. So anyway, these are great. When you can get these, we highly recommend them.
Next one, something a little bit different, but we have a Fandex, which is on mummies.
Yeah.
And so what's really cool is we have a couple of these. We'll talk about another one, I think, in our next video about Africa. But this one is basically centered on Egypt and around the mummies. And these are just unbelievably interesting kind of visuals with a little bit of information packed on it. So if you find that you're studying something in Egypt and your learner's really digging it, one of these type of informational cards will have a little bit more information on it. And what I liked about this is that during the week, while we're driving to and from our parent partnership, activities, soccer, whatever it might be, you take this and you toss it into the car so that while you're driving to and from work, the kids can look in it and just read and explore and keep that learning and keep that connection going to the curriculum that we're doing, through this type of entertainment. Wonderful thing to bring to,
it's really cool.
If you're going to sit down for dinner or if you got to go to the grocery store a little bit, wonderful thing to bring along with you.
It has on the back, it has additional information too.
Great things to read. So you can read almost like a nonfiction book in and of itself on the back of every single card.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. We wanted to show you guys this because it's one of the ones we have.
Yeah, these are Fandex family field guides. They have
these for everywhere.
Yeah, we have a painter's one that we're going to get into next year. They've got one on like American presidents. There's a states one. There's a bunch of different ones, and you can often find these at Book Outlet. That's where I've gotten them in the past. So if you're going to make a Book Outlet order, or if you haven't gone onto Book Outlet yet, check that out.
Well, we do have a podcast on Book Outlet. Go back into our podcast feed and check it out there. And also, Buy All the Books is one of our most popular episodes. I think on the Wayback Machine, way back there. But Buy All the Books. If you search for it, there's even more information about how to get, resources and books and whatnot. And these are the type of things you can find there.
Yeah. So we really like these.
Absolutely. So going on from books to food, the Moroccan chicken. Was this the Hello Fresh one?
No.
This is the different one.
Yeah, okay. we looked up I don't remember what it was in the cooking class Global Feast book, but I remember my daughter going, eee. And so I was like, that wasn't a good start.
Was it eggplants?
I don't remember. It might have been.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember, but I remember her being.
What's the classic eggplant dish?
Yeah, it's a moussaka. No, not that.
Anyway.
We're fudging it.
Yeah.
Listen, that doesn't matter. Point is, she looked at the recipe and went, and so I thought, let's not. So I pulled up a recipe for this Moroccan chicken. It was like a paprika chicken. It had lemon juice and made a sauce. It was quite delicious. We really enjoyed it. So I'll try to link a recipe in the show notes. That recipe actually was not good, and I had to make a lot of adjustments. So I will try to find a similar but more complete recipe somewhere else. If I can't find one, you can just look up some sort of Moroccan chicken. It was ethnic enough to be give us a glimpse into their culture and what they eat, but it wasn't so much that my kids both revolted because chicken is something they understand. So I don't remember what it was that we baba ganoush. It's baba ganoush.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
And maybe that's what it was. I don't remember, but Moroccan chicken worked out.
Absolutely. Next with videos, we went to the Rick Steves well.
So Rick Steves, he does all the Rick Steves Europe, right? But he also went to Egypt and did a multi-part on modern day Egypt, and it was fascinating.
We also went, because we were studying the Sahara, went into depth about studying the animals that live in that region. But more importantly, my daughter kind of got onto a kick that the fact that Sahara used to be green, used to be kind of like grasslands and forests and a lot of waters and rivers and lakes. And she was very fascinated about that. And I think she was struggling to wrap her head around how long ago that was. But it was so fascinating. And the ancient cultures that could still be embedded in that region that we haven't discovered, nestled in some of the old lake beds and creeks and some of those more extreme locations. We haven't found them yet. So she was really interested in that. We found a bunch of videos on that. She was running around talking about the Sahara and the greening of the Sahara.
Very interesting.
It's very, very interesting. So that we touched on that.
One content note on the Rick Steves video. I don't think that there was any language in it, and we thoroughly enjoyed it, but there is a scene where Rick is smoking a hookah with another person. So I think on YouTube you can find it either as a complete, I think it's 40 minutes maybe, or you can find it in segments, if that's something that you're sensitive to. We just said like, oh, Rick's being silly, and we went over it. But if you want to censor that out, I just wanted to give you that note.
That's a good
and there are smaller bits, so you could just choose something different. I don't remember at which bit he smoked, but you could figure that out and just not watch that.
You can see it coming. Lastly, we watched the movie Sahara, which was an animated.
Not the Matthew McConaughey version. I think I would have liked that version more.
Yes. I showed her the trailer to Matthew McConaughey's Sahara, and I was like, she's like, I don't know what's going on, Dad. This looks kind of silly.
Yeah. I don't think it would have been appropriate.
No.
So this is a Netflix animated movie. It's about snakes that live in the Sahara. It's rated for kids. I thought this was a safe choice. We're going to find I have several of these choices that we're going to have to say were not good choices in the coming weeks.
We've got a doozy coming up.
Yeah, for West Africa. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
But actually, this was a really terrible movie. My daughter liked it. I have to say,
we're gonna be like the two guys up in the.
I don't remember what their names are, but
it was so bad.
Yeah, no, this was it was really stupid. And one of the things that I really hated about it was that not one of the two main characters, a guy and a girl snake, but one of just their friend peripheral characters who was in a lot of the movie was like a drug addicted snake. He was like stoned all the time, and every time he saw this pollen, he like had to go after it because he was addicted to it. And I was very unsettled by that whole thing. It didn't add anything to the movie.
It was like snake nip or something.
I don't know. But yeah, he was just basically stoned all the time and addicted to this pollen. And I was like,
it's good pollen.
This is not what I signed up for. So I do not recommend watching the Sahara movie on Netflix. Don't watch it. I don't know what to replace it with, but don't watch that. Because I thought that was really bad. Maybe find a documentary on the Sahara.
Watch Star Wars. It's set in Tunisia. Go to Tatooine.
There's an option.
There's an option.
But
There's
yeah, we were really. I just that didn't do it for me. I didn't think that was appropriate. So.
Well, it was a fun week.
Yeah, we did have a good time.
Very, very. I would say culturally, very different than what we've done in the past. I mean,
it really
Middle East was there as well, but like we got to touch on a lot of it's such a large region in the world.
Yeah.
And very sparsely populated, and there's so many individual little cultures. It was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think our daughter was super interested too to study what modern day Egypt looks like. She's really into ancient Egypt and all of that, but to really talk about like, okay, but that was thousands of years ago. What's Egypt like now?
I just want to eat at the KFC and be able to see the pyramids.
Yeah, she really wants to go to Egypt. She's like, when can we go? I want to see the pyramids. And I was like, well, so it'll be a while. But anyway, we had a good trip. So we hope that this is helpful if you are studying North Africa. So stay tuned next week, and we'll continue our journey around the world.